Anna's rusty sedan rolled slowly into the parking lot of the Black Pine Motel, tires crunching gravel as pale headlights pierced the thick, humid night. Her eyes darted nervously, catching glimpses of shadows flickering beneath the sputtering neon sign. The silence pressed heavily on her chest, broken only by distant whispers of passing traffic and the persistent buzz of electric lights. Climbing out, Anna shivered, wrapping her jacket tighter. The lobby loomed ahead, windows caked with grime, dimly lit. Inside, an elderly clerk watched her arrival intently through murky glass, his gaze cold and unwavering. A sudden chill crept down her spine as Anna clutched her purse tighter and cautiously moved toward the ominous entrance. Anna stepped into the musty motel lobby, her footsteps muffled by stained carpet. A pungent odor of mildew filled the air, mingling with stale cigarette smoke. The clerk, whose weathered name tag read Gus, scrutinized her from beneath heavy brows. Gus said, "Rooms cash only." Anna fumbled nervously for bills, feeling his gaze penetrate deeply. Handing over the money, she felt a sudden nausea as Gus handed her the rusty key marked 13, his lips curling into an unsettling smile. Anna's skin prickled at the unspoken threat lingering between them. Walking through the dimly lit corridor, Anna's footsteps echoed ominously against peeling wallpaper and worn carpets. She clutched the cold key tightly, her breathing rapid. Door numbers blurred in the faint glow of buzzing overhead lights. Room 13 appeared abruptly, its tarnished brass numbers glinting forebodingly. Her fingers trembled as she inserted the key, feeling the heavy gaze of unseen eyes piercing her back, whispering threats from shadowed corners, each creak and groan of old wood amplifying her dread. Inside the room, Anna flipped the brittle switch, dim bulbs casting weak, yellowed light across faded wallpaper and stained bedding. A cold draft brushed her cheek, making her shiver involuntarily. She checked the window, secured but smeared with grime and fingerprints. Turning back, she noticed deep, jagged scratches across the inside of the door, as if someone desperate had tried to claw their way out. Her heart pounded painfully, panic rising with every shallow breath. Exhausted but uneasy, Anna hesitantly sat on the bed, springs squealing beneath her weight. Her eyes scanned the room anxiously, pulse hammering in her ears. Something moved subtly in the reflection of the mirror across the room, shadows shifting silently. Anna turned sharply, chest tight, eyes wide in fear. Nothing appeared. Still, an unseen presence whispered coldly through the stale air, promising terror to come. Anna awoke abruptly, gasping sharply in the oppressive darkness. A sound had shattered her uneasy sleep, soft footsteps barely audible yet unmistakable. Her eyes strained, peering into the shadowed corners of the room, searching desperately for movement. Her heart thundered in her ears as she sat upright, pulling the thin, rough blanket protectively around herself. Another creak followed, nearer this time, as if someone was pacing just beyond the door. "Who's there?" Anna whispered hoarsely, her voice trembling. Silence answered, thick and menacing, until another footstep echoed, stopping directly outside her room. Anna's fingers clutched the blanket tighter, dread pooling ice cold in her chest as the doorknob rattled faintly. Anna moved silently from the bed, each step cautious and hesitant, her breathing shallow. The wooden floor creaked beneath her bare feet, each sound magnified in the tense silence. Approaching the door, she pressed her ear against the rough wood, listening intently. Breathing, slow and deliberate, matching her own frightened rhythm from the other side. Her heart skipped painfully as the breathing quickened suddenly, ragged and frantic. A muffled whisper seeped through, unintelligible but saturated with anguish. Anna recoiled, nearly falling backward, eyes wide with terror. The whisper repeated louder, pleading now, the voice distinctly feminine and panicked. "Help me, please, he's coming." Her pulse roaring, Anna unlocked the door hesitantly, heart thumping against her ribs. It creaked open to reveal the empty, shadow-filled corridor stretching endlessly. She stepped out timidly, her eyes scanning the dimly lit hallway. A distant sob echoed faintly from around the corner, desperate and frightened. Anna whispered softly, "Hello." No response, only silence thickening the darkness. She took another cautious step, cold linoleum sending chills through her bones. Turning the corner, Anna froze instantly. Down the corridor, barely visible beneath flickering fluorescent lights, was the faint silhouette of a woman crouched on the floor. Trembling violently, her sobs growing louder, more desperate. Gathering courage, Anna approached the woman cautiously, whispering softly, "Are you all right?" As she drew closer, Anna saw her clearly. A young woman, mid-20s, face pale and tear-streaked, eyes wide with sheer panic. The woman reached out desperately, grasping Anna's wrist tightly, her grip icy cold. "You shouldn't have come here," she whispered urgently, voice trembling violently. Before Anna could respond, the young woman's gaze shot fearfully toward the darkness behind Anna. She gasped sharply, eyes widening, whispering with rising terror, "He's already here." Anna spun around sharply, heart hammering wildly, searching the shadow-filled hallway frantically, but seeing nothing, yet feeling a malevolent presence closing in. The corridor lights flickered violently, plunging the motel into brief moments of suffocating darkness. Anna felt her breath hitch painfully, her heart thudding unevenly in the erratic gloom. The young woman whimpered, clutching Anna's arm tighter, nails biting sharply into her skin. Whispering harshly through choked sobs, she repeated, "He watches from the shadows, he'll never let us leave." Anna's blood ran cold as a heavy footstep echoed ominously down the corridor. The lights flickered once more, illuminating a towering figure silhouetted briefly against the far wall, motionless and menacing. Darkness returned instantly, leaving Anna and the sobbing woman frozen in dread, helplessly awaiting whatever horror lurked in the approaching shadows. Anna's pulse pounded furiously as darkness enveloped them again, the oppressive silence suffocating. She gripped the trembling woman's hand, pulling urgently, whispering, "We need to hide now." Together they stumbled toward an open doorway nearby, breath ragged with panic. Inside, Anna quickly closed and bolted the door, turning to face a dimly lit room, air thick with stale cigarette smoke and decay. The young woman sank to the floor, shaking uncontrollably, whispering frantically, "He's everywhere. He knows this place." Anna glanced around desperately, dread pooling in her stomach as distant footsteps echoed, deliberate and relentless, slowly approaching their hiding spot. The steps stopped directly outside, silence stretching unbearably. Anna held her breath, heart painfully loud. Then, suddenly, a violent bang rattled the door, shaking its flimsy frame. The young woman screamed, covering her mouth instantly in terror. Anna pressed her back firmly against the door, whispering shakily, "Stay quiet." The banging intensified, accompanied by chilling laughter, deep, sinister, and echoing. "You can't hide forever," a low, menacing voice murmured softly through the door. The woman stared wide-eyed at Anna, whispering in broken sobs, "He's done this before, he won't stop until he has us." The assault on the door ceased abruptly, plunging the room back into unnerving silence. Anna cautiously stepped away, legs trembling. She whispered softly, "Who is he? What happened here?" The woman, shaking visibly, responded faintly, "He worked here years ago. They fired him for violence. He never left." Her voice cracked painfully. "He takes guests. No one ever finds them." Anna felt nausea rise sharply, reality fracturing as fear tightened its grip. Her thoughts raced frantically, seeking escape, but dread immobilized her as faint scratching sounds emerged from within the walls, rhythmic and methodical, closing around them. Driven by desperation, Anna began frantically searching the room for escape. Her eyes landed on a partially boarded-up window, obscured by filthy curtains. "Help me," she urged quietly, pulling at the boards, fingers scraping painfully against splintered wood. The woman joined her, sobbing as they struggled urgently, pulling at nails and wooden slats, until one broke free with a sharp crack. Hope flickered briefly, then shattered instantly as the door exploded inward behind them. Both women turned sharply, screaming as the hulking figure loomed ominously in the shattered doorway, eyes glittering coldly, lips twisted in a sinister grin. Anna and the young woman backed desperately against the window, heartbeats thundering as their attacker stepped slowly into the dimly lit room, revealing his scarred face twisted with malice. "I told you," he hissed quietly, voice thick with menace. "No one leaves." Anna glanced desperately at the broken window behind her, calculating her chances. Her voice shook, determined yet terrified. "We're leaving now." He laughed coldly, eyes narrowing as he lunged forward aggressively. With adrenaline surging, Anna pushed the woman out through the broken opening, screaming, "Run!" before turning to face him, heart pounding furiously, readying herself to fight for her life. Anna dodged sideways as her attacker lunged, narrowly escaping his grasp. Her shoulders slammed painfully against the wall, vision blurring momentarily. He growled, pivoting sharply to face her again, eyes glinting cruelly. "There's nowhere to go," he hissed, voice dripping with sinister satisfaction. Anna's breath came raggedly as she stumbled back, eyes darting rapidly for an exit. Outside, the distant sound of footsteps faded. The young woman had escaped. Hope flickered momentarily, fueling Anna's desperation. Gathering strength, she grabbed a lamp from the nightstand, brandishing it defiantly. Her voice trembled fiercely as she warned, "Stay back." But his smirk only widened, relishing her panic, advancing slowly. Suddenly, Anna swung the lamp forcefully, smashing it into his face with a loud crack. He staggered back, clutching his bleeding cheek, snarling viciously. Seizing the opportunity, Anna bolted through the splintered doorway, sprinting blindly down the dimly lit corridor. Her breath burned sharply, pulse racing wildly as panic surged. Behind her, heavy footsteps thundered closer, his enraged voice echoing, "You want escape." Each desperate step reverberated painfully, dread building rapidly. The corridor twisted confusingly, doors identical and ominous. Her mind screamed hopelessly, trapped within a nightmarish maze, until a faintly illuminated exit sign appeared ahead, promising fragile salvation. Bursting through the emergency exit, Anna found herself in a narrow, shadowed alley behind the motel. Cold air bit sharply at her skin, lungs gasping painfully. Glancing quickly, she spotted a rusted fire escape ladder. With no hesitation, she scrambled upward, fingers numbed by the frigid metal. Below, the attacker crashed into the alleyway, snarling furiously as he spotted her ascent. "You can't run forever," he roared, voice echoing sinisterly. Anna climbed desperately, arms aching, reaching a rooftop cluttered with discarded furniture and broken bottles. Moonlight provided faint illumination, casting grotesque shadows. She crawled behind an old air vent, heart pounding violently, hoping desperately to evade detection. Anna lay motionless, chest heaving, eyes wide with terror. From below, his voice taunted chillingly, "I'll wait as long as it takes." Her breathing quickened, panic rising again. Silently, Anna crept across the rooftop, searching desperately for another escape. Suddenly something caught her eye, small, tattered belongings strewn across the rooftop, forgotten evidence of past victims. Horror gripped her chest, breath catching sharply as realization crashed in. This motel was his hunting ground. She stood shakily, dizziness overwhelming her briefly, as footsteps clanged on the fire escape. Whipping around, she saw his hands grasping the roof's edge, pulling himself slowly upward, face twisted grotesquely. Anna's desperation exploded into instinctive action as she sprinted toward a rusty door on the far side. It yielded with a reluctant screech, revealing a stairwell descending into darkness. She rushed downward, her footsteps echoing harshly against concrete walls. Behind her, a furious scream erupted. The attacker had reached the rooftop, rage fueling his relentless pursuit. Anna stumbled slightly, heart seizing painfully, but pushed onward, reaching the bottom floor and emerging breathlessly into the motel's abandoned basement. Darkness thick and suffocating. She fumbled along grimy walls, gasping for air, searching urgently for safety, yet feeling dread tightening its grip as echoes of heavy footsteps pursued relentlessly. Anna stumbled through the darkness, her fingers sliding desperately along damp walls, breathing raggedly. The basement smelled of mold, rot, and despair. Her heartbeat drummed violently in her ears as echoes of her pursuer's footsteps descended the stairs behind her, slow and deliberate, savoring her terror. She bumped into something cold and metallic, a storage shelf. Hands trembling, Anna grabbed an old flashlight, flicking it on to reveal a maze of dilapidated furniture, broken appliances, and forgotten belongings. "There's no escaping me down here," the attacker's mocking voice echoed. Anna shivered, frantically searching for a hiding spot, fear gripping tighter with every echoing footstep. Anna ducked behind a broken wardrobe, flashlight trembling violently in her grip, breath hitching painfully. Her attacker's footsteps grew louder, each deliberate step sending waves of dread through her body. Suddenly, silence enveloped the basement again. Anna strained to listen, sweat trickling down her forehead. "Come out," he whispered menacingly, voice disturbingly close. She bit her lip, suppressing a scream, heart pounding mercilessly. A sudden scraping noise came from nearby. A chair slowly dragged across the concrete floor. Her breath quickened in terror as she realized he was toying with her, knowing exactly where she hid. A harsh light flickered on suddenly, flooding the basement with sickly yellow illumination. Anna gasped, eyes squinting against the glare. Her hiding place useless, she saw him clearly now, standing calmly, a twisted smirk stretching his lips. "Game's over," he whispered coldly. Desperation surged inside Anna, and she bolted again, sprinting toward an old wooden door at the basement's far end. His laughter filled the air behind her, echoing cruelly off the grimy walls. Reaching the door, Anna tugged frantically at the handle, but it stuck. Panic surged as footsteps advanced methodically toward her, hopelessness sinking deeply into her chest. In a desperate move, Anna slammed her shoulder repeatedly against the stubborn door, splintering wood until it finally burst open with a loud crack. Stumbling through, she found herself in a narrow, filthy corridor, leading to a dimly lit room beyond. Behind her, the attacker cursed angrily, accelerating his pursuit. Anna rushed forward into the room, freezing in shock at what greeted her, a collection of photographs neatly arranged, capturing countless faces of people who'd vanished within these motel walls. Among them was a photo of the young woman she'd just helped escape. Horror and disbelief paralyzed her momentarily as footsteps closed rapidly behind her. Anna turned sharply as her attacker entered, face twisted in rage. "You shouldn't have seen this," he growled menacingly. Gathering her strength, she snatched a broken piece of wood from the shattered doorframe, brandishing it protectively. "You're a monster," she whispered fiercely, voice trembling yet defiant. He lunged forward, eyes filled with cruel intent. Anna swung the wooden shard with all her strength, slicing his face. He stumbled back, roaring in pain. Seizing the brief advantage, Anna bolted toward another doorway, heart racing fiercely as adrenaline fueled her desperate dash toward possible freedom, leaving the attacker momentarily dazed and howling in fury. Anna dashed into a narrow passageway barely lit by flickering bulbs, walls closing tightly around her like a tomb. Her heartbeat echoed furiously, legs burning with exhaustion. Behind her, distant shouts turned into rage-filled roars, signaling her pursuer had recovered. The corridor twisted erratically, branching unpredictably. Disoriented, she turned left sharply, gasping as she collided with a locked metal gate blocking her escape. Despair surged as she rattled it frantically, the heavy padlock refusing to yield. Footsteps pounded closer, the attacker's harsh breath audible. Anna shrank back into shadows, holding her breath, willing herself invisible, praying the darkness would hide her just a moment longer. The attacker stepped slowly into view, his face dripping blood, eyes blazing with vengeance. He paused, scanning methodically. Anna suppressed a whimper, heart slamming painfully. He spoke quietly, voice sinisterly composed. "You can't hide forever, Anna. They never do." Her breath caught sharply as he moved closer, his heavy boots scraping against concrete. With her escape blocked, Anna's gaze fell on a rusted iron pipe at her feet. Fingers trembling, she silently lifted it, muscles tightening with tension. As he stepped within reach, she lunged with desperate strength, striking him violently across the knees, sending him collapsing to the ground, roaring in agony. Anna sprinted past his fallen form, breath ragged, pulse pounding. Behind her, screams of pain shifted to threats of savage retribution. She emerged into another bleak hallway lined with faded, identical doors. Panic surged, her vision swimming as dizziness overtook her momentarily. Stumbling forward, Anna desperately tested each doorknob, all locked, until one finally turned beneath her frantic grip. Shoving it open, she froze immediately. Inside sat an elderly woman in a rocking chair, eyes glazed, humming softly to herself. The room was cluttered with memorabilia of past guests, tokens of horror displayed lovingly on shelves. The woman smiled gently, whispering warmly, "We've been waiting for you." Anna stumbled backward, heart racing, voice breaking. "Who are you?" The old woman's smile widened, calm yet deeply unsettling. "His mother, dear. You won't escape him." Anna's chest tightened painfully as realization flooded her mind. The clerk at the lobby, the photos in the basement, this motel trapped victims intentionally. Footsteps echoed again outside the door, signaling her attacker's approach. "You could join us," the old woman whispered sweetly, eyes glittering with sinister warmth. Panic surged through Anna, prompting her to slam the door shut and barricade it swiftly with heavy furniture, praying desperately for one final chance at survival, as pounding began again outside. Trapped, Anna searched frantically for another way out, eyes falling on a narrow bathroom window. She scrambled toward it, shattering the glass urgently with a ceramic figurine. As she climbed painfully through shards and onto the cold asphalt outside, fresh air hit her lungs, reigniting a surge of desperate hope. Limping forward, bloodied but determined, she sprinted toward the nearby woods, glancing back briefly to see her attacker break through the barricade. His furious scream echoed into the night, chillingly vowing revenge. Anna stumbled into the darkness of the dense trees, knowing with sickening certainty that her ordeal was far from over, the nightmare still relentlessly chasing her every breath. Anna stumbled through thick underbrush, her heartbeat deafening in the oppressive silence of the forest. The twisted branches clawed her skin, leaving bloody trails on her arms and face. Exhaustion weighed her down, but terror propelled her forward. Behind, echoes of enraged shouting pierced the night. Anna paused briefly, gasping painfully, turning her head to glimpse faint flashlight beams slicing erratically through the darkness. Her attacker was closing in rapidly, driven by murderous fury. Forcing herself to move, Anna pushed deeper into shadows, praying the darkness could hide her long enough to survive this endless nightmare. Anna reached a small clearing, breath burning painfully in her chest. She froze, noticing faint moonlight reflecting off a nearby pond, surface eerily still. Before she could react, a sudden rustle exploded behind her. Anna spun sharply, heart seizing with dread as her attacker emerged from shadows, blood smeared across his enraged face, eyes gleaming dangerously. "You've nowhere left to run," he snarled, advancing steadily. Anna backed away slowly, feet slipping dangerously close to the water's edge. Defiance flared weakly in her eyes as she whispered hoarsely, "You won't win." He laughed harshly, drawing closer, malice radiating from every step. He lunged violently, grabbing Anna's arm tightly, causing her to scream in agony. Struggling desperately, she clawed at his face, nails scraping his skin as he growled furiously. Locked in a fierce battle, they stumbled closer to the pond's slippery bank. "You're mine now," he hissed triumphantly. Fueled by panic and adrenaline, Anna twisted sharply, breaking free momentarily. With a desperate shove, she pushed him off balance. He slipped backward, arms flailing wildly as he fell into the murky water, disappearing beneath the surface. Anna gasped, stepping back shakily, eyes fixed on the rippling pond, breath frozen, hoping it was finally over. The water grew still again, silence filling the clearing. Anna's pulse slowed cautiously, but dread remained heavy. She crept toward the pond's edge warily, eyes scanning the surface. Suddenly, the attacker exploded from beneath the water with a primal scream, lunging toward her. Instinctively, Anna grabbed a sharp branch from the ground, thrusting it upward forcefully. The branch punctured his chest, surprise and disbelief filling his eyes as he staggered backward, collapsing onto the bank. Gasping, Anna stared numbly at his still form, relief mixed with horror. Slowly sinking to her knees, exhaustion overwhelmed her, tears spilling silently. As realization sank in, it was finally over. Dawn broke quietly, sunlight filtering gently through trees, as sirens wailed distantly. Anna, still trembling and battered, watched numbly as emergency vehicles pulled into the motel parking lot beyond the woods. Voices called out, searching urgently. Rising unsteadily, Anna stepped slowly towards salvation, every painful step marking a victory against the nightmare she'd endured. Emerging from the forest edge, she saw rescue workers rushing toward her, their faces filled with shock at her condition. "You're safe now," a paramedic assured softly, gently guiding her away from the motel's sinister shadow. But Anna knew the shadows would remain forever, etched into her mind, never truly escaping the darkness she'd survived.